I'ma come a little different. But I tell her, free real start federal. Hey, let's get it. Let go, let go, let go.
Man, I hope that y'all missed us because we missed doing this. It is episode 7 of the Lunch Table Podcast. I'm Dabo. That's Chabo. Man, it's been too long. How you doing? How you feeling, bro? I feel like we ain't talked in the grip and we haven't recorded an episode in the grip.
Yeah, I'm good, man. And you're right. It's I've missed doing this because we text and keep in contact and all that good stuff. But getting on the laptop and talking about sports and stuff I've missed it a little bit. I've been trying to. It's been harder to keep up with everything because I'm not getting to talk about it. And there is little going on. But yeah, I'm good, man. Charleston's still treating me right. We both work in college athletics, so it's August. It's time to start rolling with these sports. So we'll stay busy, but we'll stay on the pod and make sure we're talking about everything relevant and keeping it rolling. But yeah, I'm good, brother.
Bro, that's the crazy thing for both of us, man. When it hits August and you work in college athletics, I mean, just go ahead and get ready for the grind because I'm right there with you. I mean, going to volleyball practice and then a football scrimmage and then, whatever other event there is that's happening, man. So it's been crazy, but in the best way possible. So for those of y'all wondering, that's why it's been tough to roll out the next episode is because we both got super busy. But in my eyes, we're going to be able to roll these out, hopefully weekly, like we were doing to start. But, man, it's been a good time. Of course, I'm in JMU, Chabo, over at Charleston Southern. Living the dream, man. And part of living the dream is also getting to talk about sports casually, not necessarily, having to dress up every day and do an official job, but just kicking it. That's why we're doing this podcast. So, of course, y'all missed us and you missed this segment. Hottest topic, NFL preseason, man. There's been a lot going on, and usually preseason is preseason where not many people care, but because of the rookie quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, of course, there's big news with him being out now, but with all these guys where there's been a lot of high hopes for, it's made it exciting football. What have you liked about the preseason, man? Because personally, watching Caleb Williams out there, it was beautiful.
Yeah, one thing I like about most of the starting rookie quarterbacks is not a lot of them have looked terrible. They've all come out and looked overall pretty good. Like you said, Caleb Williams, 4 for 7 the other night. Smooth all over the place, just complete offensive game, looked really collected. Even Michael Penix came out and showed some great signs, played excellent ball. And it's nice when what a guy is supposed to bring to the table and they get on the field and they bring it to the table. For example, like a deep ball with Michael Penix. That's one of his biggest strengths offensively, and then he comes out and he shows that a little bit in the Atlanta game. So it's been good. Bo Nix over in Denver is showing some great signs. He had a lot of completions the other night. I think it was like 15 for 21, had a touchdown in there. So, he's running the Sean Payton offense over in Denver pretty well. Just kind of get in the game, get out of the huddle quick, make plays happen, get up and down the field. That was a huge problem with Denver in my eyes last year was there was a lot of times where the quarterback didn't make a decision as quick as Peyton would like him to, taking a lot of sacks, holding on to the ball for a long time. And Bo Nix, in the preseason game comes out and doesn't play like a rookie. So that was a good sign to see. Like you said with J.J. McCarthy, played decent, but won't get to be playing too much anytime soon. So I hate that for him, but it happens. So, but yeah, everybody overall, New England's got a unique situation with Drake May and Joe Milton. Obviously you draft May a lot higher, so you're kind of maybe putting more investment into him. But Milton came out the other night and played better football. So it's
Yeah, he did.
The quarterback battle obviously shouldn't be based off of salary or draft selection, but everybody's eyes are on Drake May for sure because he's the guy that's supposed to be playing at a higher level. But they got a unique situation with the Patriots for sure.
Yeah, and bro, here's the crazy part. Can you remember a time where somebody talked about preseason football? As long as you just did, for that matter, because nobody has cared. But
Right.
That's what has me so excited about this year. Bro, Jaden Daniels, I really, really like what he brings to the table. There's been so much, I don't want to say criticism because I don't know if that's the right word, but I guess, and skepticism with, can Daniels fit in the NFL?
Yeah.
Man, I know it's one game, but to me, he answered those questions.
Right.
What doesn't he have that can translate? He's got a good arm. He's got good feet. He's got great awareness in the pocket. And of course, Caleb Williams. I mean, it's the same thing. The guy just bought out. Very small sample size. Not saying he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time, but man, does he have potential? So those two guys, if I had to say these are my two favorite, that's who it would be. But you point out Joe Milton. I mean, a guy that nobody's really looking at as going to be contending for a starting spot. But now, because of the way he's played, you start to say, hold up. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe there's a chance that he can leapfrog Drake May in this system.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bo Nix, to be honest with you, that's the one quarterback I don't really like coming out of the draft. But I can say that he still balled out in
Yeah.
his preseason game. So another guy that stepped up to the occasion, Penix, I'm really excited about him. He's not going to see the field much at all in the regular season, of course, because of Kirk Cousins, but great deal of potential. And I hate it, man. I really hate it for JJ McCarthy
Yeah.
because I do pull for Ohio State. Obviously, you know that. But I really like the way he goes about his business, the way he prepares, and how much he focuses on the mental side of the game as a QB.
Yeah.
And to see that season-ending injury headline, man, I mean, I was really excited because
Yeah.
he's stepping into a role with the Vikings where you've got Justin Jefferson,
Mm-hmm.
you've got a good O line, you've got a good defense, you've got a solidified head coach that can put you in the right spot. Then you
Exactly.
get news like that. I mean, dude, that's crushing. But I say all that to say, I think we're in really good hands for the future at the quarterback position.
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree. There's plenty of them. So yeah, we definitely saw some good signs from this specific rookie group so far.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's going to be such a fun season, man. And we took a little bit of a hiatus with rolling out this next episode because of our work, but you best believe we're going to be rolling out episodes left and right because we have too much to talk about with this NFL season. And of course, the NBA is always going to be something we're keeping our eyes on. With that, it's comments from the comments. This is one of the best questions we've gotten. The biggest what ifs in NBA history. Now, this can be what ifs in the sense of a player. What if Derrick Rose doesn't get hurt? Or just scenario wise, what if the Thunder keep their core three and Harden, KD, and Russ? So that's the way this
Yeah.
comment is teed up. Chabo, man, in your eyes, it's the biggest what if.
Biggest what ifs, you mentioned two great ones, OKC and their trio.
Yeah.
We grew up on
I'm
it.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You didn't steal it. We working together. So I mean that's a good one. I'd say D Rose being healthy. I mean Joker had a youngest MVP ever and then, goes downhill with the knees and the lower body injury. So that's obviously one to look to. Two of them that I think it's a trade scenario if the trade didn't happen type of scenarios. First one being what if Shaquille O'Neal never leaves the Orlando Magic? That's one that obviously we don't get Shaq and Kobe. Obviously, yada yada. But if Shaq was a Magic player for his whole career, the amount of damage he and Penny could have potentially did would have been something of, interest. But the biggest one I think to me, just because out of all the players we've mentioned so far, all the this guy is the best out of all of them, which is crazy. D Rose and Shaq, this guy's the best. But if Kobe Bryant never got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers in the 96 draft,
Bro.
if Kobe
Yep.
Bryant was a Charlotte Hornet and they realized what they had, which obviously nobody knew what they had in that moment, but if they believed in Kobe enough to keep him, what does that look like? I mean, that just changes the fabric of the association if Kobe stays a Hornet. So I think that would probably be my answer is the Kobe trade situation. People can hint at if Carmelo got drafted by Detroit instead of going to Denver at 3 in the '03 draft, that's a great one. But I feel like it wasn't like Carmelo went to Los Angeles Lakers or like some crazy, franchise. He went to the Denver Nuggets and he made his name there instead of Detroit. And he ended up in New York anyway. So that's why I ranked the Kobe one ahead. But Kobe getting traded away on draft night, that one is just
Oh,
that's got to be my answer.
no, I like that one, bro. And I'm sitting here looking to the side because I'm looking at Kobe's rookie season.
Mhm.
If you go all the way back, and I want to be careful how I say this because I'm not saying he had a bad rookie year,
Right.
but Kobe as a rookie was not this, jaw dropping, head turning kind of player. He averaged 7 points a game, roughly 15 minutes. It's not like he stepped onto the scene and he was the superstar that we know him to be today.
Right.
So I like the point that you raise up because if you're in a different spot, if you're with a team like Charlotte, where not much at all is going on, and you're Kobe Bryant,
Right.
and he probably would have played more minutes, but you dropped 7 points a game in that season. Does your year two take a huge leap? I
Right.
mean, honestly, those are the questions you got to start thinking about
Oh, yeah.
with the culture that Kobe stepped into. Man, that's a crazy one to think about
Yeah.
because he embodies LA. That's why everybody loves him. I mean, he had
Right.
the swagger and he had the mindset.
Hmm.
But man, you stick him out there with the Trailblazers, or I was about to say the Pistons because of how bad they are now, but
Right.
back in the
Yeah.
day they weren't too
Yeah.
shabby.
So they weren't far removed from a world championship. Yeah.
No, they weren't. And shoot, Kobe probably would have fit in well with them.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I think a big what if is Kobe not going to LA. This is one for me that I didn't put in my notes, in when we looked at the show rundown. But what if LeBron doesn't go back to Cleveland?
Mm.
I mean, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, it's one that kind of hit me just as soon as we started this episode. Again, it's not one that I typed in, thinking about what could I talk about. But man, we don't talk about that enough. What
Right.
if LeBron James never brought a title back to Cleveland?
Yeah.
What if he stayed with Miami? Or heck, for that matter, what if he goes from Miami to LA? Or, whatever team. I think his legacy, man, not that he wouldn't, he'd still be in the GOAT
Right.
conversation,
Right.
but
Yeah. I
I
think.
mean, you're looking at him in a different light.
Oh, for sure. Because I mean, honestly, I think LeBron's most impressive achievement, that may be a stretch because I'm not having everything written down, but arguably his most impressive achievement is coming back from 3-1 with the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second
Yeah,
stint. So it's like if, like you said, he'd still be in the GOAT debate, but if you take away his biggest quote achievement, that's obviously going to change his fabric. But yeah, I think that's a good one. I think he would still, if he didn't leave Miami and he would have stayed in Miami a little bit longer, I definitely think he gets another ring or two. So maybe it would help his GOAT debate, if he never went back to Cleveland because he would have more, more than one ring or whatever. But yeah, that's a good one too. If he doesn't go back to Cleveland, I mean, I've heard the one saying, what if he never left Cleveland? What if he stayed in Cleveland, not his whole
yeah,
career,
true.
but what if he never went to Miami? I think that changes things too. So
Ooh,
yeah, LeBron's, yeah, I mean, if you're the GOAT and you're on more than one organization, everybody's always going to ask, what if you didn't leave or what if you yada yada. But
yeah,
yeah, so I think that's a crazy one too. LeBron, I think just because we know, we saw him on Miami, we saw him in LA, we saw him on Cleveland. I feel like that gives us a better answer. But yeah, that's a great one.
yeah. And I'll throw one more out. Russ, KD, and Harden. What
Yeah,
if that trio
that,
doesn't get disbanded? Heck, you could just look at Russ and KD and say, what if they stayed together?
right.
But that's one that I always think about
Yeah,
because I
that would.
think it would have been really good.
Yeah, I think that one changes. We talk about resting KD, but I think James Harden career is crazy different if he never leaves the Thunder. He's never going to have the
Oh,
opportunity
absolutely.
to be a 30 points a game type guy because he's not going to get enough shots to even score 30 points. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that would be a crazy one, even for just Harden, the third man alone. So yeah, that's a real one that's crazy that I think got broken up prematurely for sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Back to the Future. We rolled this out the last episode. Thought it was a good one. Had a good time with it. We're going to play a bit of a spin-off here in this episode. We're not necessarily going to pick somebody to win a game.
Hmm.
We're going to pick outcomes. So the first one we got is which rookie quarterback will make the playoffs this year, or will there not be a rookie quarterback
Yeah.
in the playoffs this season?
I think my first answer, I'm going to go with the team that I think I'm probably most confident in that's got a rookie quarterback. And this one is kind of a asterisk beside it because he's probably not going to be the starter on the team. But I'm going to go Michael Penix with the Falcons. But I don't, I wrote on my thing, I put Penix asterisk indirectly. Like he'll be on the team and he'll definitely get some snaps on the field, but it won't be his team quite yet, I don't think. But I could see the Falcons. I predict them to make the playoffs for sure. Another answer of a guy who is in charge of his offense to a degree. I think the Bears have a ton of tools to make the playoffs. I don't know if you're going to go from one of the worst teams in the league to a playoff in one season, but so I'm not going to like bet money the Bears will make the playoffs. But as far as the guys that are in charge of their offense, I think the Bears have all the tools necessary to get there for sure.
To me, the biggest answer, it is the Bears. That roster, man, we talked about it in a few episodes ago with Caleb Williams and what he's stepping into. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Romo Dunze, of course, Caleb Williams, the number one pick. I know line that it's not bad. I mean, it's gotten better.
Right.
DeAndre Swift now in the backfield. The defense that's already good. You have one of the best corners in the league in Jalen Johnson, who, by the way, got absolutely snubbed in the NFL top 100.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be a whole nother segment that we talk about at some point because, man, that list is a joke.
Mhm.
But the defense is really good. I see no reason why the Bears don't make the playoffs. And I'm actually going to go a step further. Call
Mhm.
me crazy if you want to. I think Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears not only go to the playoffs, but they get a playoff win.
Okay.
That is how confident I feel about this team. The only question is Caleb Williams.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't find another hole or, glaring discrepancy within this team where you question things. The only person that people are saying, I don't know, happens to be Caleb Williams.
Right.
To me, Caleb Williams is going to be offensive rookie of the year, beyond a shadow of a doubt. He's going to lead the Chicago team. I've been watching the Hard Knocks episodes and it has
Yeah.
me fired up to watch the Bears this year. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm not even going to give another rookie QB because I don't know that another one will. I like the Penix. The Falcons will make the playoffs. If
Yeah.
they don't, goodness gracious, look
Yeah.
out.
Man.
Raheem Morris. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you botch that one if they can't make it.
Right.
But Jaden Daniels, I don't know that that Commander squad is there. I
No.
think Daniels is there, but I don't think the team is there yet.
Right.
McCarthy is obviously out, so I'm not going to count him.
Mhm.
Bo Nix and the Broncos, another team where
Right. It's too
I think
tough.
Bo Nix could have he could
Yes.
have a good year, and I still don't think
Yeah.
they're a very good team.
Exactly.
So yeah, man. I mean, I'm going Caleb Williams and the Bears, and then I'll go with the Falcons indirectly, just like you did, because
Right.
Penix he should get some snaps. I hope he gets more playing time than we expect.
Yeah. Me too. Now, staying on the football field, we're going to transition from the NFL, go down to the college level for the next Back to the Future question being, which group of five school, Davo, do you think is going to make this college football playoff? It can be, you can say more than one. There can be multiple entrants if you think they're going to be that strong. But who are you looking at out of the G5 to make this 12 team playoff?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, obviously, there's one spot guaranteed for a group of five team. Liberty is probably the safest answer
Mm.
off the top of my head. If I had to choose a team, I'm going with Caden Salter and that squad. But, you know, the more and more that I get closer to this season, and obviously I'm with James Madison, so, my nose is deep in the Sun Belt. I like App State. Yeah, I can't lie. I think there's a lot of hype around App State, and it's justified hype for the
Mm.
most part. This team is supposed to be good. In a good conference.
Yeah.
That's the bigger part to me. The Sun Belt, you could make a case that it's the best group of five conference there is. And in my eyes, if you win that conference, you should get a bid into the playoff. So I don't think two teams make it into the college football playoff. That's why I'm wrestling internally right now. I'm gonna go App State.
Gotcha.
And Liberty is right there as well, where I wouldn't be shocked if they make it. But I just don't see two teams from the group of five making it this year. I mean, bro, I'm assuming you saw the AP top 25. There wasn't one group of five school in that list.
Yeah.
Not one
Yeah.
was ranked. And that kind of gives me a sign and a signal to how people, and more than people, how the media and the higher ups, and even the coaches for that matter, are looking at the group of five,
Mhm.
even in this modern day college football.
Right.
I don't think the respect is there yet.
No. Well, I mean,
And because of that, not to rub any feathers that for the people that love the G5. I mean, again, I'm working in G5, but I think it's App State from the Sun Belt.
there you go. Well, and I think that's like you were talking about with the nobody being ranked. I feel like that's the life of a group of five school. Like you're not walking around with a gold medal, reputation. You come in and you don't see a lot of those teams move up in the rankings, and so they come out and literally shock the world week after week, beating bigger teams. So it didn't like shock me that none of them were in the top 25, but I definitely, if I was a group of five, die hard, it would definitely rub me the wrong way. Like you said, my like safe, predictable answer for the group of five would be Liberty. They're in a very weak conference. They got a lot of returners, great situation, yada yada. A team that I like though is Tulane, out of the American Athletic Conference. And the reason I
Okay.
said Tulane, you've got obviously a new head coach this year, but the culture at Tulane, they've won 23 games in the last two seasons.
Yeah.
And from a conference
Yeah.
standpoint of a conference champion XYZ, one of their biggest adversaries in the American Athletic was SMU, who is now
Yeah.
out of conference. You know, so
Right. And
so
yeah, in the ACC.
so you're losing a huge opponent at the top of the pool. You got 23 wins in 2 years. You've got a culture of winning now. And I agree, the American Athletic is a tougher conference than Conference USA objectively. So I think that gives Tulane a lean versus a Liberty. If they were in a similar situation, that's definitely a positive for Tulane. So I'm gonna roll with the Green Wave. I think Liberty's not a bad pick for me. Obviously, I'm a Georgia Southern grad, App State. I respect your football team still. But Tulane, man, yeah, I think Tulane is right in that group. I think they're the team to beat in
Yeah.
the American, and and it's not like it's gonna be a shocker if they win because they've been doing
As Lee Corso would say, great pick. I
it.
mean, that's beautiful. Tulane, honestly, though, I mean, that is one of those teams where success in the past 5 years is not a question. They have built the rapport and the respect from their foes, from their conference, and I think from the world for that matter, that, hey, we're a legit team that can put up a fight. So, man, Tulane, App State, and Liberty, I mean, I think all three of those teams have a chance. And honestly, the more I think about it, Liberty, when I'm looking at App State and I'm looking at Tulane, I almost slot Liberty down to the three below both of those teams. Um, but I think those are good picks.
Yeah, I definitely
And
think.
hopefully we see maybe two G5 teams. I don't think it'll happen.
Right.
But hey, we live in a crazy world. Crazy things
Exactly.
can happen.
Never know.
So we'll see, man. Let's go to baseball. Obviously, playoff time is getting closer and closer. So we're going to talk about the biggest of biggest trophies, and that is the World Series. Who you got winning it?
I think the Los Angeles Dodgers are the easy pick. I think they've dang sure spent enough money to be considered for it. So I think the Dodgers have to be in that conversation. It's definitely a safer answer. But I'm gonna go with a little not dark horse because I mean they're still a great team in the league. But I'm gonna go with the Baltimore Orioles. I think they got a lot of young energy. They've got a new owner this year. They've got kind of that Orioles magic. I like what I see out of Baltimore. They're in a tough division. They're one game off of first place with the Yankees, who are top two or three consideration for the World Series if you look at the odds. So you're one game off from winning your conference over the Yankees. You're always yeah, that's a strong team, young energy and everything. I just like the Orioles. They're in that top 4 or 5 mix already. So I just think when they hit the field, I think they've built that team the right way. I think they've got what it takes to last through October and win that World Series. That so I'll the Dodgers feels like too safe of a pick to me, and the Braves ain't performing at the level I feel too confident. So I'm gonna roll with the Orioles.
Yeah, no, I definitely ain't rolling with the Braves, man. I got a Braves hat on right now, but they ain't shown me nothing to
Right.
believe in them. I mean, they traded for Jorge Soler and also picked up Eddie Rosario, trying to find, lightning in a bottle from a few years back. That ain't happening again. Those guys, respect them, like them as ball players. They're not leading your team to a World Series. So yeah, definitely not the Braves. I like the Orioles pick. The young team, Adley Rutschman, a switch hitting catcher who's just filthy. I mean, that guy is going to be a stud for a really long time. Of course, it's not just him, which is the bigger part of this equation with the Orioles. They have the best young talent of any team in the MLB. And I don't really think it's a question when you look at Gunnar Henderson, another guy on this Baltimore squad. They're really good. Now, where I'm going to push back is because of their youth, to me, the Orioles are what the Oklahoma City Thunder were this
Mm,
past year. Young team, went way above expectations, performed at the highest rate, but the youth did show
like
when the lights got the brightest.
yeah.
So I like the pick. And, I wouldn't be shocked if the Orioles won it, but I think their youth will get to them in
Right.
the playoffs, which is why I'm going to go with the most hated answer and also probably the safest answer in the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the money. I mean, they've essentially paid for a championship. That lineup, you just can't argue with it.
Mm-mm.
Top to bottom, it's really dang good.
Right.
And of course, you got the best player in baseball at the heart of that order in Shohei Ohtani. So yeah, man, I like the Los Angeles Dodgers to get things done. But hey, now that you say that, I'm rooting for the Orioles. I
Okay.
want the Orioles to win it. That would be awesome to see that young core. I mean, this early on to
Yeah.
grab a World Series. Whoo,
Let's run it.
that'd be crazy, bro. That would be crazy. All right, basketball time. And this one is kind of niche, but who do you think is going to win the Defensive Player of the Year award?
I think it's the guy who should have won it last year, Anthony Davis. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a Kentucky
Oh,
bias, and
okay.
you can get into the advanced stats of it. I guess the reason they rolled with Rudy Gobert is because of how successful Minnesota was last year. But if you really look at them numbers, there's not a major defensive category that Gobert beat Davis. I mean, I wrote down a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, Davis had more defensive rebounds and more total rebounds, but more defensive rebounds specifically. He had more blocks. He had more steals. I mean, I mean, if we're going off the basic objective numbers, he wins it. If we're going off advanced stats, the difference they make on the court, Davis wins it. If you're looking at the way they turn their defense, their own defense into offense, Anthony Davis is better offensively than anything Rudy Gobert puts on the court. So it just kind of it didn't like shock me. I know Gobert's a three-time defensive player of the year. He wasn't a dark horse for it, but I think Davis got disrespected for sure. I don't know what else he had to do, in his control. So I think he comes back this year. I think the Lakers have a really good year in store. I'm not just being a dumb optimist, but I think there's some fire around the organization a little bit. There's been some change, not really necessarily with the roster, but there's been some change with obviously coaching in JJ Redick, and LeBron knows that his hourglass is starting to run out of sand. So I hope there's a push of energy right now to say, hey, the Celtics are a dominant team, but LeBron James has still got what it takes to be the best player on the court. So I think the Lakers have a good season this year, and I think AD wins that Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I'm with you that, while Rudy Gobert had another great defensive season just a year ago, I don't know that it warranted him winning his third Defensive Player of the Year award. I'm going to go with another big, but I like Wemby, man. Obviously, I don't even need to describe why I think, and not even think, but why he is a great defender.
Mhm.
But with a year under his belt, and of course, a great coach in Greg Popovich, I think you're going to see a lot of freedom from Wemby on the defensive end specifically, where a guy that wants to learn, and when you have a coach like Popovich, if he can go in the offseason and show Pop that he can trust him, man, and you give a guy like that 7'4", wingspan way above 8 feet. He's just too talented. He's going to disrupt everything. I mean, he's Giannis, but on steroids when it comes to that regard. So I think Wemby will be huge in the defensive
Yeah.
factory this season, and that's probably a safe pick. But
I mean,
and it's too glaring for me
so
not to ignore. I mean, goodness gracious.
yeah, I'll get into Wimby slightly later in our last category, but I mean if you watch Wimby this summer on that French team, man, it's like somebody gave him, steroids and a battery pack in his back from the Spurs rookie year Wimby. I mean, he was just
Yeah,
playing like he knew I mean, he's playing on the court like I can be the greatest player to ever do this thing. I mean, that's really how he's playing. So
yeah.
yes, I think defensively that he's that guy. Offensively he's gonna grow. I think noticeably this year because of supporting cast members like a Chris Paul and like you said, the freedom and the trust from Popovich. But yeah, so I like that pick with Wimby for sure.
Yeah, and now I know exactly what you're alluding to and referring to in our last segment. But we'll get there when we get there. Last question for Back to the Future. We're gonna go back to a game, and it's preseason this week on Thursday. Patriots versus the Eagles. We already mentioned Joe Milton. Do you like New England to get the preseason dub?
I mean, these games you never know, and so I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
off bias. And my pops is a Dolphins fan. I've never liked the Patriots, and that Kelly Green looked real good, so I'm gonna go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Kelly Green.
I mean, this is what it is. I've been to Philadelphia, I've been to Boston, and I'm going back to Philly every time. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles, man.
There we go. There we go. I haven't been to either city, and I do want to go to Philly really bad just to go to the
Hey,
freaking Rocky
yo,
Steps and the
Adrian,
Rocky statue.
yo, Adrian.
Yo, Adrian! Man, bro, I watched Rocky 6 the other night, and I fell asleep, I'm not gonna lie, but it
Hey,
was still great for the first, 10 to 15 minutes I put it on. Um, Back to the subject. I'm gonna go with the Patriots, not because I have this great analysis of the game and why New England's gonna do their job, but I do like Joe Milton, and I actually saw a report today that apparently training camp wise, the Eagles and the Patriots had a joint practice. And I don't know the exact specifics of it. I didn't have the time to dive too deep into it, but apparently the Patriots were an absolute train wreck in that practice. Again, I don't know exactly where that was coming from, what made it a train wreck, but because of that, I like New England to bounce back in this preseason game and kind of flip the script. I don't know who's going to be playing the most, but if it's Joe Milton, man, I really love the way Milton plays. He's mobile, but he doesn't rely on it. He's got a strong arm. And I'm not a huge fan of Drake May, so it'd be really cool to see the guy that nobody expects
right,
to step up and say, hey, first round pick, get out the way. This is my time.
right.
Yeah, give me the Patriots, man. Give me the Patriots over the Kelly Green Eagles. Top five, top five. High five segment, man. Here we go. The last one of the episode. Bro, I'm really stoked for this one. This is the best by far because we're about to unload from the vault our top five greatest sports moments that we've witnessed, either in person or on TV. So either way, and obviously there's tons of moments and tons that you can pull from. So here we go, man. We're going to try to cipher this out. I know that you got plenty and I got plenty.
Yeah.
So what you thinking first, man? What's a sports moment that sticks out?
Yeah, I've got a couple that I was thinking of earlier. I'm gonna start with the least important one, and I'm gonna build each
Okay.
pick on that,
All
right?
right.
So the
All
least
right.
important, like the moment that didn't mean as much for that game, that season, yada yada, but I saw it live and was just amazed. Was the Odell Beckham Jr. one-handed catch in the end zone. Like when I saw that one live, I just like it was one of those where I'm just casually sitting there talking with the fam, just watching the game, and I see that catch, and immediately everybody was like, "Hold on, everybody, shut up. We got to rewind that. What just happened?"
Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, that's when the world got to know Odell if they hadn't before and all that, yada yada. People still debate greatest catch, this, that, the third. That moment catapulted Odell Beckham's entire career and persona.
Yep.
So So it is
Yep.
crazy. And so the fact that I got to see that one live action was crazy timing. So that's gonna be my first pick. I won't be mad if it don't make the top five, but I had to mention,
Okay.
my fellow Beckham and his one-handed catch.
Bro, his world changed after that catch.
Our
I
world,
mean,
our world
literally.
changed after that. But you know how many people
Yeah.
we
Fair.
know that
Oh
started trying to catch
no.
everything one-handed. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. No, that's facts. That's a good moment. I like that a lot. I'll go with one that kind of same tier in the sense that it wasn't huge in the grand scheme of a season or, most things, but it was a game where I don't know that my heart was ever racing faster. I mean, I was going ballistic watching this one. Ohio State, Notre Dame this past year, where Ohio State drives down the field and, I mean, essentially a buzzer beater handoff at the 1 yard line and barely, and I mean barely, getting the touchdown to get the win over Notre Dame, man. That was one for me to
Hmm.
where after that game, I was like, man, I don't know that I've ever felt that in tuned
Yeah.
to a sporting event. Like, and don't get me wrong, I've gotten into a ton of games where I'm breaking closets over it, I'm getting mad, but that's a whole nother story for another day. I'm sure you're probably wondering now. But bro, that moment from this past year was crazy.
Good
And
one.
I won't be mad if it don't make the list because I
No, but
mean
that's a good
in
one.
the grand scheme it's not huge.
Gotcha. Now this one is a contender. And we're gonna stay on the college football field. A little backstory for what made it even crazier. My dad was born in Birmingham, Alabama, and grew up around a lot of Bama fans. My mom is a graduate of Auburn University and is a huge,
Okay, yep.
War Eagle, Go Tigers fan. So when we're sitting, my mom is not a huge sport person, but my mom religiously watched one sporting event a year. And if you have not guessed already, that would be the Iron Bowl at the end of regular season college football. So that year, we're sitting in the living room, me, my dad, my mom, my brother, grandma, and we are watching the Iron Bowl. And when that kick six got returned from the back of the end zone, 109 yards, woo woo woo, my mom stood on the couch, started yelling at everybody. She went and grabbed toilet paper out the bathroom and threw it across the living room, man. We done rolled the couch. So yeah, mom was into it, kick six, crazy. I went to the College Football Hall of Fame like a year after that, and they had the whole booth where you could go in the booth and like listen to the call, like in the stadium headphones or whatever. So yeah, crazy moment, kick six, Bama versus Auburn in the Iron Bowl. That's gonna be my next pick.
Oh, bro, that's on the list because it's on my list, and you just can't deny that one.
Yeah.
I remember I was actually at my granddad's house, and at the time he lived pretty close to Atlanta, and he's a huge Georgia fan. I mean, like biggest Georgia fan I've ever met, ever seen. So, we're watching football, and obviously, it was Georgia and Georgia Tech. They play the same week as the Iron Bowl. It's rivalry week. So we watch that game. It's cool, whatever. We go throughout the day because I believe the Georgia game was at 12 o'clock and
Probably.
the Iron Bowl was always at 3:30. So we were doing something. We didn't watch the Iron Bowl in its entirety, but I'll never forget sitting on my granddad's couch when that happened, man. I mean, that's one of those things where there's moments in your life where you point at something and you go, where were you at when this happened?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is for us. I mean, where were you at when the kick six happened? I was at my granddad's house. Nah, that game was crazy, and that play is, you could argue, the craziest of all time in college football. And I didn't have any dog in that fight. I mean, I'm
Right,
not an Alabama fan, I'm not an Auburn fan, but I'm a sports fan.
right.
And that's enough to watch that play and realize you just witnessed more
Exactly.
than history. So yeah, man, that's an easy one. We're putting that in the top five no matter what, because I don't think anything can top that or at least bump it out of our list. I'll stay on the football field. This one, I mean, it's special to me because I'm a fan of the team and it was a big win, but it's more special to me because I was there. Uh, huge Jacksonville Jaguars fan, for better or for worse. Of course, there's been a lot of for worse in
Worse.
that equation. But as you know, and you probably know what game I'm referring to already, the Jaguars make the playoffs and they get to see Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Well, I had season tickets to the Jags the first year that Trevor Lawrence stepped in. I didn't have season tickets the second year. So I didn't go to a game that year at all from what I remember. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to this game. Well, we just made the playoffs. Like, it's in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I have to go. So I go, and I go not realizing that, when you hit that first quarter, we just played the worst first quarter of football ever. It was really bad. And then, of course, the Jaguars make history and have one of the most monumental comebacks in NFL playoff history. Being there in that atmosphere,
Yeah.
especially with a fan base and the Jags that, I mean, we're scrapping for anyone we can get. Nonetheless, a playoff win, I mean, it was dead. It was dead when that game started, when Trevor Lawrence was throwing picks left and right, handing them out like free sandwiches. But then he hit the second half, and holy crap, dude, oh my gosh. I mean, I'm not even doing it justice the way I'm describing it, but that's how big the moment was to me, man. Jags, Chargers, huge playoff win. Then went to the Chiefs the next week and played really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, Jags, Chargers. Oh, gosh, I relived that moment a lot.
That's a good one. And I mean, being there just, makes it that much bigger in your mind.
Yeah,
The next one I'm gonna go to the basketball court. My last two answers are on the basketball court. This one, I'm sitting in one of my dad's friends' houses. It's got a 115-inch projector screen, NBA Finals. I'm sitting right there close to it, and when
Oh,
Chris Bosh gets the rebound, back out to Allen, his three-pointer. Bang. I mean, watching that one live as a Miami Heat fan, I put quotations around fan. I ain't gonna claim it like I am really Heat diehard, but I'm a LeBron guy, and I mean, when
right.
you're watching that, you just want to see LeBron go off. He got all the players,
Yeah.
and when
Yeah.
he hit that three and changed the course and helped win him that chip, yeah, that was a big one. I think that's a huge moment, and I was blessed to watch it live.
Yeah, dude, that was one. I didn't put it down,
Mm,
but I mean, it was definitely in the forefront of my mind. Since you mentioned basketball, I'll give you one that also involves LeBron James, and we alluded to this earlier, and that's when he was a Cleveland Cavalier, and he had to face what many said and what I said to be the best team in NBA history, in the Golden State Warriors, 73-9 record, and the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James in Game 7. LeBron gets the chase down block. Obviously, Kyrie gets the huge three-pointer on the right wing, in between the legs, step to his right, over Curry. I mean, dude, that's a moment that
yeah.
I'll never forget. That was insane. Oh my gosh.
That's a great one. And for my last one, it's funny because you just mentioned two of the two guys that's involved in this last moment. And like I said, each of the four moments I'm mentioning, OBJ catch, Iron Bowl, kick six, Ray Allen three to win the chip. This one could be argued as the one of greatest importance. And Davo just mentioned LeBron James. He also just mentioned Steph Curry. Anybody that can spell America and watch Steph Curry last week beat France. I mean, Steph Curry versus Serbia in the semifinal is enough. We lose that game by 15-20 without Curry.
Yeah.
Then you watch that Joker hit the dagger to win the gold medal in his only Olympics in Paris. Come on. Well, I mean, it's like I said, if you can spell the letters USA, you were excited in that moment. So I love
Yeah.
that for Steph Curry. I think that's got to be. I mean, it's rare that you sit down as a sports fan nowadays when you've been watching sports as long as you and I have, and you just go, "Oh my gosh!" Like I am witnessing history textbook moment right now. Like I'm witnessing one of the most important sports moments of since I've been watching it. And so that was really cool to see that last week with the US Olympic team, and shout out to everybody on the team. But Curry and LeBron and KD and everybody just came together, played the perfect game, and took home that gold medal, and they earned every bit of it. So that's gonna be my last pick.
Yeah, you're gonna be disappointed in me, man. I was at home here in Harrisonburg. I didn't have work, at least when I remember, and I didn't watch the second half.
Woo!
I mean, bro, I know, and anybody that knows me knows that I'm a basketball guy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basketball and it's football. Those are the two things that I live and breathe.
man.
Yeah, bro, I'm ashamed saying it. I'm not gonna lie. It's a huge moment. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just hate that I didn't watch it live because now it's still cool, and I see Steph Curry go off in the highlights,
But
but it
yeah,
just doesn't hit the same for me because I was an idiot. And
right.
bro, I think I was playing college football at 25. I'm not even gonna cap with you. Um,
Great reason, great reason, great reason.
dog, oh man, yeah, we just need to move on from that game because I'm already pissing myself off that I didn't watch it. But yeah, the heroics from Curry, the Serbia game, man, that was huge to even
That's
get them
I think
in the gold medal match against France.
oh yeah, I texted whoever I think it was my grandma and whoever had an ear, I told that day. I mean, I think that Serbia USA games is a top five sports game I've ever watched. I mean,
Yeah,
that was the only game I missed from the exhibition versus Canada to the gold medal game. The only one that I didn't watch was the quarterfinal versus Brazil. And that was the only one I missed. I forget what I was doing, but sitting down and I got to watch. And David, I don't know if you're this way too, but context clues for you guys. Some people like to be in a big group and watch sports. Some people like to be with their one buddy and watch sports. And there are events that I'm like that. There's sometimes, yeah, I may want to watch a Georgia football game with my Georgia buddies or something of that nature. But when
yeah,
it comes to a game that I am locked into, I am
yeah,
solo locked into it. I don't want to hear another voice. I don't want to
yeah,
hear somebody shut their door too loud. I don't want to hear nothing. Like it is me. I mean, if I've got a pair of headphones that I used to have when I was living back home in high school, whatever, family would come over to watch a Kentucky basketball game. I'm putting these headphones on, we Bluetoothing them to the TV, and I'm listening to the game. Like it's like when I want to lock in, that the mission is to lock in. And so luckily with that Serbia game and 95% of the French game, I was sitting there edge of the couch, phone on do not disturb across the room, and I'm sitting there watching every daggum second of the ball game. So that's what made the Serbia game special too, because I mean, I like you said, there's 8 pillows on my couch in my living room currently. There were 2 remaining on the couch by the end of that Serbia game because the other 6 had been hurled across the living space. That's just what it is. I was into it. It was a great Olympic run. And it's one thing if you win every game by 30, yay, we're the best, we dominate, cool. But it's another feeling when you've got 59 NBA players in this Olympic pool this year, and you go out there on the court and you win it in the ways that you want to see it be won. Meaning LeBron is the Captain America. Kevin Durant comes out and says, I'm the best Olympian ever. Steph Curry comes out and says, I'm the best point guard and shooter ever, and it's my first Olympics. Give me the gold, green. You know what I mean? It's a great feeling.
yeah,
They won it the
yeah.
right way. So yeah, it was a great run. I was kind of mad that our podcast hiatus was kind of going through the US Olympic
I
basketball.
know, I
No,
know.
we came back fresh, and I said, okay, when Davo sent me the high five greatest moments, I said, I know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, bro. I've never related to something more in my life than what you just said. When I watch a game, and we've shouted out T Ross almost every episode,
Here.
all for different reasons, it feels like. But T Ross knows this because he lived with both of us. When I watch a game, and it's a game I care about, I'll watch a Joe Blow, whatever week 2 unranked college football game with people. When I'm watching my team or I'm watching a big event, I want 2 things. Those 2 things are nobody around me and no lights on. I
Yeah.
can't have a single light on. I'm serious. when I'm watching a game that I care about, that Notre Dame Ohio State game, for example, when we were living in 227, obviously that's because it happened when we were living together. Evan, one of our roommates, was in there. T. Ross, I think, was in there, and then I believe Joseph. They were all chilling there watching the game, and I said, "Look, I'm going to my room.
Yeah.
I'm watching the game by myself.
Yep.
There wasn't a single light on in my room, and if you're trying to get, I'm just going to tell people now, not that anybody cares about me enough to do this, but this sports season coming up, college football, NFL, NBA, I don't care what it is. If it's a big game, you're not getting a text back.
That's true.
Well, let me walk that back. You might get a text back. Don't ever call me. Don't ever call me. I mean, seriously, bro, there's something about just being dialed in 100% to the game. No phone, no laptop, no book, no lights, no people. It's just you, your mind, and a hopefully 75-inch screen staring in front of your eyeballs. Oh, man. I mean, we just got on a tangent and kind of went off topic, but that's what makes the moments. That's what makes the moments. I mean, I'm going to throw one out. I shout out T. Ross.
Yeah.
Got to shout out my boy Cowboy, a.k.a. Trenton Lund.
Yeah.
Huge UFC guy. Huge. And me and him text almost every day about the UFC, or at least when an event's going on. UFC 300 did not happen too long ago, and it was the biggest fight card in UFC history, at least to most people. The main event was Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. Jabo, I don't remember if you watched this fight, if we talked about it or not.
Right.
But for those of you that don't know, it was a great fight. It's a 5-round fight. They get to the 5th round, and there is, I don't remember the number. I want to say like 10 seconds left.
Yeah, it was low.
And Max Holloway, he won the fight. I mean, he could have just ran around the octagon and done nothing, just not get hit. He would have won because he dominated. And Justin Gaethje had his moments, but it was very clear who was going to win. Instead of Holloway being safe, he goes to the middle of the octagon. He points at the very center of the mat, looks at Gaethje and says, "Come on, let's go." I mean, I'm getting chills talking about it right now.
Me too.
This guy won the fight, and he's risking it all. With 1 second left, he knocks him out cold. I mean, these dudes are just wailing. They're going back and forth. It looks like a frenzy. It's insane. There's a cartoon character. I can't remember the cartoon's name, but it's the one where it like goes in the tornado.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. I mean, they're just fists swinging. And Holloway knocks him out cold with a literal buzzer beater, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if that makes our list together, but for me,
no, I didn't watch the fight live, but when I like heard it and saw it, I was just, man, it's probably the greatest UFC moment I've ever seen or been around.
Oh my gosh, bro! I mean, I'm gonna have to send this clip to Cowboy because I know he'll appreciate it. But he texted me something in all caps, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a moment where it's like, yeah, that was nuts. So. Oh gosh, that took a lot of energy, and that felt good, man. I got 2 more. I'll speedily run through really quick, just because I want to at least mention them. Chiefs Bills AFC Championship. I believe it was 2021. I mean, you know the game I'm talking about, where Mahomes and Allen are back and forth, and then with I think it was 13 seconds. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where they have to drive the distance of the field essentially.
Yep.
And what does Mahomes do? Well, he just becomes what he already is, which is, in my eyes, the greatest of all time.
Yep.
And dumps it off to Kelsey, dumps it off to Tyreek. That game was crazy. And then, never mind. I just had that one that I wanted to mention. Whether or not it makes the list. For me, that was football-wise, watching live, I would say that was the craziest game I've ever seen. Yeah. Maybe not moment, quote unquote, but I mean that fourth quarter, and the final 2 minutes are enough, to fill in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because that game was crazy.
It was for sure. Okay, so let's regroup, get our
Yeah,
five,
yeah.
and let's get our. I'm trying to think. I mentioned four. You mentioned what, like five, 4, 5?
I mentioned 5, yeah.
Okay,
So we got 9 in total.
so we got to whittle down.
Or no, I mentioned 6.
Okay, so we got 10. Let's whittle down 5. We can whittle off OBJ's catch. That can be the one that I'll immediately whittle off of mine.
Okay. I'm a I'm a whittle off the Jags Chargers comeback
Okay.
because it's special for me because I was there.
But
But for the average fan, I mean, it's a cool moment, but it's nothing like crazy, crazy. So I'll take that one off.
do you want to whittle off Ohio State, Notre Dame? Even though it's a
Yeah,
huge game, like it wasn't like a championship in
yeah,
comparison to some of these others. Cool. So we down to
yeah,
7.
yeah.
What are the other 2 that we're going? Oh man, I guess we got some.
Well, let's do this now. We whittle off a few. Let's put at least 1 or 2 we know have to be in there. Kick 6 in my eyes. I think we both unanimously agreed
Yep,
that one's got to be on the list.
yep.
So I say kick 6. We'll figure out how to order it in a second. Kick 6 is on there. We both mentioned huge NBA Finals moments,
Mhm.
and then mentioned Team USA too.
I mean,
I'm thinking we pick 2 of the 3,
so you said the 3 that we
or
mentioned
or
were.
one of the 3.
So we had the Ray Allen 3, the LeBron
Yeah,
block, and then what was the third
yeah.
one?
Team USA.
Oh, Team USA. Okay, okay. Dang, that's tough, boy.
That's
God.
hard, bro. I mean,
I mean, so we have those 3. We have the kick 6. We have the UFC, and then the other 2
yeah.
are the Chiefs, Bills, and what's the last one?
I'm blanking, bro. I don't remember.
Yeah, you're fine. I think. Ooh. Okay. So
Okay, well,
no, I'm good
to
because
me, if you disagree, let me know. To
no.
me,
I think 2
UFC
out of.
300, it goes in.
Yeah, that's fine. I would do UFC 300. I think
Okay,
2 of the 3 have to make out of that group. And if
I
and if
agree.
I'm
No,
go,
I agree.
and if I'm going with 2 or 3, I'm gonna go LeBron block in Game 7 against the Warriors, and I'll slightly or briefly mention my reasoning being that block and the Kyrie Irving 3 that came out of it. I mean, that's what got LeBron that Cleveland ring. I mean, we just talked about
Yeah,
the fabric of his greatness, and that moment, if it doesn't happen, that fabric is completely different. So I think that one, just because of
yeah,
just the tension and the just height and the crazy weight of that moment, and which is gonna in turn, I also think the Olympic win in that moment because the weight of that moment is you get to see guys like Anthony Edwards and a Jason Tatum and a Devin Booker and that league of guys come up and get some playing time and contribute. But LeBron, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant on one team play. It ain't an all-star game. They are on one team
yeah,
playing their
yeah,
hearts out, and they're not winning it for some NBA organization that's paying them. They're winning it for the country. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? It's like we watched,
yeah,
or I got to watch my childhood get on one court and ball like they know how to and bring home the biggest trophy in the sports world. So I think for that reason, I'm gonna advocate for that Olympic win being in the top 5 just
yeah,
because I mean Curry's dagger and those plays were a crazy moment, but the moment of just winning that in that fashion, crazy.
yeah. I'm with you. No, I agree. And some people might think I'm not even a sports fan because I didn't watch that U.S. France gold medal match. It's too monumental because, I mean, we didn't really give a criteria for how we're ranking this necessarily, but that game fits any criteria you can imagine. It was monumental, not for a team,
Mm.
not for a fan base, but for a literal country. I
Like
don't know how you get bigger than that.
you
You
don't,
don't. And
you
then
don't.
you already mentioned the fact that it's KD, Steph, LeBron, not only guys that are really good, but guys that are the greatest of all time. Curry, greatest point guard of all time,
Yeah.
questionably. LeBron, greatest player of all time.
Yep.
You could say KD is the greatest scorer of all time.
Yes, he's the most
I mean, there's an
unstoppable
argument to be
scorer.
made for
Right.
that.
I mean,
So, yeah, man, I don't think there's a question. It's got to be in there. I'm still kicking myself. I didn't watch it, but I like that.
yeah.
That Allen three is huge, but it doesn't compare to the other two moments that you just.
Because I'm just thinking of the fabric that it changes. I'm like, if Allen doesn't hit that three, yes, LeBron probably got one less ring, XYZ a third. He still got a chip in Miami. But to be honest, the whole Miami thing felt not, it felt bought. It felt not scripted. That's not the word, but it felt commercialized. And the Cleveland win and how that happened against the good boy Golden State. Ugh, and then like you said, we just took the country. I mean, like those three could be three of the greatest basketball moments in the past 10 years, but if we're getting rid of one, I'm cool with the Allen. So,
Okay, so we got four.
yep.
Was there one that you mentioned that I'm blanking on?
No, the ones I mentioned were OBJ, Kick Six, Ray Allen, and Olympics. So I'm good on mine. So we've got,
Okay.
so
So
we've
the
got,
only one we have left is Chiefs and Bills, unless we want to have a discussion for something else going in that last spot.
no, I mean, you could honestly argue Chief Bills versus the Ray Allen three. But but I mean, I'm cool with having, an NFL answer on there for sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's roll with that. And
Cool.
you know, we're probably going to title this greatest sports moments of all time, but it's a hybrid
Oh yeah,
between greatest and favorite.
yeah,
Because, if I'm being honest, the Bills Chiefs game, it was great. And in a lot of ways, I think it put Mahomes, not that he wasn't in it already, but it put Mahomes in that
hmm,
just different kind of level category because you saw him do something nobody's ever seen.
right,
Yeah, we've heard that a few times about him, but it was a fun moment to me. I could mention the Falcons dropping a 28-3 lead to Brady, and many people would say that's one of the greatest moments of all time.
yeah,
But for those of you that are wondering, how did that make it over some Super Bowl wins or something? That's why. We're not necessarily saying these are the most monumental. We're just saying greatest slash, when we watch live, what we felt.
right,
So yeah, man, I like that five. Now we just got that part done. Now
yeah.
we got to rank them.
I think I'll throw a loose five ranking and then see if you want to adjust it. Let's go.
All right,
Um, ooh, that Olympic one is gonna be tough to rank. I'm gonna go. I'll go kick six
this
number
is
one.
hard.
I'll go kick
Okay.
six number one. You can say what you want. We're from the South. College football, it don't matter how many millions of dollars you making. Nick Saban, the most talked about person around here. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. Like college football is money aside, everything like just intensity, college football. So I'll go kick six, number one. Number two, I'll go. I'll go the Olympics, number two. I'll say the Olympics, number two. I don't
Okay.
mind. Just like we talked about the wholesome heaviness of the moment. Number three, I'll go LeBron block. Number three, into the Kyrie thing, game
Okay.
seven Cleveland, we did it. That's a crazy moment. Number four, I'll go UFC 300, arguably greatest knockout UFC history, XYZ, the third. But the reason I put it at four is because when you think of like name value, Max Holloway,
Sure.
LeBron James,
Yeah. Yeah.
Steph
Yeah.
Curry, it's like the intensity and the substance of the names in the heavy moment. Then number five, we can go Chiefs Bills because I like that we included it. But I don't think anybody's arguing it's the greatest of all time like they could the first four. So do you like
Yeah.
that five?
Yeah.
You want to reorganize it? Well,
Nah, I like that. I mean, in my again, this is in my eyes because
right,
I didn't watch the game.
right.
I would maybe slot the Team USA win.
Mm.
I would maybe slot it at four,
Yeah,
but that's just me. I think, I'm not talking just for myself here. I'm kind of doing a balance of me and then what I think the rest of the public would
mm,
say. And the Team US victory is definitely
Yeah.
close to the top of the list. So I'm not opposed to having it at 2. That's where we have it, right?
Yeah, that's fine. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I like that list, man. It's tough because they're all great moments. They're all special in their own kind of way. I mean, that Chiefs Bills game is special to me because I had all my lights off and I didn't have anybody around me. I got to enjoy it by myself.
right.
You know, all jokes aside, it's a good list, bro. It's good, and yeah, some Alabama fans seeing that kick six at number 1
Y'all
and be
got
reliving some nightmares.
yeah, they can be mad all they want. They'll look at that jewelry box and see a lot of diamonds. They'll get
Yeah,
over it real quick.
that's fair. They got yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good point, man. There we go. We just busted out the best top 5 in my eyes of any episode that we've done. Here it is. Number 1 is the kick six, Auburn, Alabama Iron Bowl. Number 2, Team USA winning gold over France. Of course, Steph Curry, LeBron, KD, and company. At number 3, we had the infamous LeBron block and Kyrie 3. You can't forget about that to beat the 73-9 Warriors in Game 7 of the NBA Finals and bring Cleveland their first chip with LeBron. Then at number 4, we put UFC 300, Gaethje Holloway. Man, if you haven't seen that fight, go watch it because it's special and it's fun. Number 5, Chiefs Bills. Again, I believe it was 2021 AFC Championship game, and Mahomes with 13 seconds does what only Mahomes can do, drives him down the field. So there we go, man. That was long-winded, but gosh, that was a heck of a lot of fun, dude. That was my favorite segment for
Yeah,
sure.
we got into a lot this episode. Yes, sir. Good
It's
return.
just nostalgia.
Glad to be back.
Oh, dude, bro, it was too long, man. I hate that we weren't able to cover some of the big moments in the past few weeks, like Team USA, but we still got to it, man. We appreciate y'all. We're gonna continue to roll these out. Again, I know we took a little bit of a break, but we're back in full force. If there's anything you want us to talk about or you have any ideas that you think would be cool, let us know. But hey, that's a wrap, Chabo. Episode 7 in the books for the Lunch Table Podcast. And as we close every single one, elbow room, elbow room.
Baby. Thank y'all for watching episode 7 Lunch Table Podcast. We out of here.